I first become aware and understanding artificial intelligence when I read this book in 2019 by Amy Webb, and she it described how the Big Nine, Alibaba, IBM, Microsoft, Tencent, Apple, Baidu, Facebook, Amazon, and Google were entering into a field of artificial intelligence where computers basically gained the ability to think like a human being and then eventually would take over and possibly replace the human being. So I had an understanding of it, but I really didn't understand the scope. And then we were introduced back in November to ChatGPT, and it started to make some sense that how the accumulation of data and the sorting of words could come into a play where I could ask a question, it could give an answer. I could ask it to perform a task, it could do that task. And it all started to make sense to me. And then I started to understand that Microsoft had bought this company called OpenAI, and they were going to introduce that to Bing, and it was going to help me to do better search, and it might replace Google. And then Google came in with their Bard and said, oh, no, we can do more. And then I watched Google's presentation 2 weeks ago about how they're going to take it into not only coding like ChatGPT is, but also altering pictures and all kinds of things. And so then I became aware of a company by the name of Anthropic. And I said, well, where are they going to fit in? And as I read their perspective and I got into it, I recognized what Joe Biden and our government is worried about. This could change the world in some very strange ways that maybe we wouldn't. And thus we got to protect from it. And then I read, as I said, the Anthropic, and I understand what they're doing. They're stepping in and saying, hey, let's build a fence around this. Let's put some guardrails up and make it available not only through search, but also education, government, and businesses where some specific language has to be put into it to protect the distributor so they don't get sued. And that's what Anthropic is all about. And I think it's important that you understand the difference and the distinctions and what this company is going to do and how they're going to make this available to startups and how it's all going to fit together. And so then I want to show you how you can actually buy into Anthropic, even though it's pre-IPO. We'll get into this. This is not financial advice. You know that. This is financial education. I've been educated. Alex educated me. Now I want to share Alex and I's knowledge with you. Let's, first of all, get this out of the way.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Alex is a guy I met down in Orlando. I communicated with him before. He runs a company called Disruptor. And what Disruptor does is they actively go out and try to acquire shares of companies pre-IPO. I talked to you about them some time ago, about SpaceX and Neuralink and some other companies, Airbnb. And so what they do is they go to the employees of these new pre-IPO companies, these startups, and the employees maybe have been working there 3-5 years. I mean, in the example of SpaceX, maybe 7 years, and they've got this stock, and there's really no market for it, but they want a new house. Okay, so Alex goes with his team, and they acquire these shares, put them in a reservoir or a package that is okayed by the SEC and then makes them available to you as accredited investor so that you can get in pre-IPO. So what I want to do before I show you how you get to the Disruptor app is share with you what I know and what Alex has taught me about Anthropic and how Anthropic is going to fit in. And the thing that really caused my ears to peak up is when I saw that Google had put up 400 million, and is a 10% owner in it. Now, why would Google do that if they already own Bard? Because Bard's not appropriate for everybody. Okay, let me show you this, and we'll talk a little bit more. This is the Disruptor website. And again, Disruptor is spelled Dizraptor. It also, as it shows you here, has a app that is very well done on your phone. What I wanted to show you here was some of the companies that they have made available in the past, such as Airbnb, Palantir, OpenAI, Robinhood, some names that you have seen. Now here you can click and it says see current offers. And the first offer you see is Anthropic. And let's click on there and see what it is. They do a fabulous job of offering you due diligence. They go through a very detailed description of what the company is about. And they're very unbiased. As it says, it was founded in 2021 by ex-OpenAI employees, including Darigo Amdeli, the former vice president of research, and Tom Brown, former lead engineer of AI language model ChatGPT-3. So this is a company that has good pedigree and understands. What I think then is important is to understand how is Anthropic different than ChatGPT or Google's Bard. And the way I interpret it is that ChatGPT and Google's Bard is a consumer product. It's a product that is being made available to you through Microsoft in the form of ChatGPT, and then in Bard in the form of Google's offering. It's a consumer product. It's going to be something that is attached to Google search or Bing search. This is a company that is creating a large language model and then going to make it available to governments, to schools, to businesses, and it sets up parameters that are different than Bard or ChatGPT. The best way I can describe, and I've read through this, is to say they will do no wrong. They have set up what they call a constitution that says we will not do these things. They give an example that you can go to ChatGPT and ask it, how can I burn my house down so that I can collect on my fire insurance? And you'll get an answer. Claude is structured to say, no, I won't do that. I will not give you that information. Now, where is that important? Well, I think if you're associated with an educational institution, if you're replacing the customer service agents at AT&T or at Spectrum or at my bank, you want someone who understands the policies of the company and understands the company more than it does the general knowledge. This company, if you will read through here, it will tell you they are going after IPOs or startups that are going to focus their attention on specific areas, and thus Claude has the ability to follow a constitution that gives specific answers and doesn't give other answers. So then I think the thing that really locked me in was that Google put $300 million into this, as well as some other very prominent people. And thus, it gives me the impression that this is an alternative to the consumer products. This is probably the leader in the companies that are going to develop product for governments, education, businesses. Again, think if you're a government, you have to be very restrictive as to the kind of information that you put out. So you can't use ChatGPT and Bard. You have to have a specialized opportunity. And that's what I believe you're going to find here. And as you can see here, they go into details of how is the AI market going to grow. And here it's at 11 billion in 2023, projected to be 30 billion in 2028. Goes through the financials that they have raised 1.3 billion from a variety of investors, including Google, Jane Tillen, James McCrave, Dustin Moscott. These are names that don't mean much to me. Salesforce. Here again, why would Salesforce be investing in this? Because they are a company who works with individual businesses and helps them in their data management system. This would be a tremendous addition to Salesforce. Therefore, that's why they're investing and probably have a percentage of ownership. The company is currently valued at $4.1 billion. That is the equivalent to $11.23 a share. So that's what this is all about. Goes into who the team is very open about their situation, and it does the due diligence for you. Now, how do you invest in this? This is pre-IPO. What Disruptor does is goes and captures shares. Where might they get those shares? Employees. This company has been around, I think it said, since 2021, so for 2 years. Employees have been given shares as incentives to work there. They may want to cash them in. Disruptor gains access to them, puts them into a pool, and then makes them available to you. Now, it's only available to accredited investors, and it starts with an investment of $5,000. So what I want you to do is I'm going to put a link in the description that gives you access to this on your phone. It's going to give you a link so that you can access this. Go to the description and you can find the link. I've worked with this company now for about 2 years. I know the CEO personally. I've met him on occasion. So if this appeals to you, and if you are an accredited investor, I encourage you to dig into it deeper, go to the link, walk through it, understand it, do your due diligence, and this is the biggest change our world's going to see in the very near future. Again, this is artificial intelligence, and this is just the large language section of it. Artificial intelligence is going to change our world. And so I heard someone say, as much as the Industrial Revolution changed our world. Now, put that into perspective. What happened with the Industrial Revolution, which actually started back in the late 1700s, was we moved the farmers from the farms to the city, and we put them in factories, and we started making stuff. And that has changed the world. I mean, everything from the factories that made widgets or whatever, to the internal combustion engine, to the light bulb, to the telephone. That all caused the Industrial Revolution, and we changed the way men worked. They used to work with their hands in the farms, and then they started working on machines and gained the assistance of the machine. So it used to be the man working with his back, then it became working with his hands. Now we have moved into a digital revolution that started back in the 1980s, which gave us the internet. Now from the internet, we're moving into this change, the second revolution with artificial intelligence, and this is going to change the world much like the Industrial Revolution is. We're going to change the way man thinks. In other words, if I had to write a poem right now, or let me say this, a year ago, I'd have struggled. Now, I can go onto a large language platform and I can say, I want to write a poem to my wife about our 65th anniversary and how I met her on the front porch of her parents' house about in 1962 and kissed her the first night I was with her. If I wanted, I could go to ChatGPT, I could go to Bard, and they would write that poem for me. That's how it's changing the way men think. I have a new availability. I could then say, now draw me a picture that depicts that and put it next to the poem. And then send it to my wife. Here's her email address. I can do that now. I could not do that a year ago. Okay? Now what's happening and what Anthropic's going to do is they're going to say the same thing to AT&T. Look, we know you have a problem called customer service. We know you have restrictions about what you want them to say and how they're going to say it. We can provide you that software. Now, it may not be Anthropic. It may be Salesforce or it may be some other company, but Anthropic is building the machine or the word base that is safe for AT&T, that is safe for our governments, that is safe for our schools. That's what's happening. Now, if you want to play in that game, go to the description, find the link to Anthropic, do your due diligence, and get in on the ground floor. This is the Industrial Revolution. I can write a poem to my wife now. I could not do that a year ago. That's how the world's changed. There's going to be a whole realm of things that I couldn't do a year ago that in 3 years from now, it's going to knock my socks off. Talk to you again tomorrow. This is exciting.